Deus caritas est, Deus veritas est. God is love, God is truth. What I'd like to do in this talk is to focus on the latter, namely, God is truth, and point out how the devil's grand attack in our times against God is therefore a great attack against the truth. So I'm going to begin by just reading to you. They are 10 brief quotations from sacred scripture. All of them are taken from the Apostle St. John. The first 7 from his gospel, and then 1 quote each from each one of his letters. His first letter, his second letter, and his third letter. And so these quotes are the following. John chapter 1, verse 14, quote, "And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we saw his glory, the glory as it were of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth." John chapter 1, verse 17, quote, "For the law was given by Moses, grace and truth came by Jesus Christ," close quote. John chapter 4, verse 24, quote, "God is spirit, and they that adore him must adore him in spirit and in truth," close quote. John chapter 8, verse 32, quote, "And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free," close quote. John chapter 14, verse 6, "Jesus saith to him, I am the way and the truth and the life," close quote. John chapter 17, verses 17 and 19, quote, "Sanctify them in truth. Thy word is truth. And for them do I sanctify myself, that they also may be sanctified in truth," close quote. John chapter 18, verse 37, quote, "For this was I born, and for this came I into the world, that I should give testimony to the truth," close quote. First letter of John, chapter 2, verses 21 and 24, quote, "I have not written to you as to them that know not the truth, but as to them that know it. Let that which you have heard from the beginning abide in you," close quote. Second letter of St. John, chapter 1, verse 4, quote, "I was exceeding glad that I found of thy children walking in truth, as we have received a commandment from the Father," close quote. And the final one from the third letter of St. John, chapter 1, verse 4, quote, "I have no greater grace than this, to hear that my children walk in truth," close quote. And then, in opposition to these 10 quotes, kind of in opposition, I'll give you just one that explains to us the work of the devil. And that's John chapter 8, verse 44, obviously referring to the devil. Quote, "He was a murderer from the beginning, and he stood not in the truth, because truth is not in him. For he is a liar, and the father thereof," close quote. So what we have here is we have on the one hand truth, on the other hand lies, deception. On the one hand we have Jesus Christ, on the other we have Satan. And obviously this is the great battle. And as hopefully all of us know, our Blessed Mother is very much part of this battle. And I do want to touch on this towards the end of this talk. The last public interview which Sister Lucia Fatima gave was on December the 26th, 1957, to Father Agustin Fuentes. After this, she was silenced by the Vatican for the remainder of her life. One of the important things which she said in this interview is the following, quote, "The devil is in the mood for engaging in a decisive battle against the Blessed Virgin. And the devil knows what it is that most offends God, and which in a short space of time will gain for him the greatest number of souls. Thus the devil does everything to overcome souls consecrated to God, because in this way the devil will succeed in leaving the souls of the faithful abandoned by their leaders, thereby the more easily he will seize them. Close quote. Remember these words of Sister Lucia of Fatima, because again, she spoke of them at the end of 1957, and that the devil was in the mood for engaging in a decisive battle against the Blessed Virgin Mary. We can ask ourselves, well, what does this decisive battle consist in? Well, I'm going to try to present to you that it is a great attack against the truth. And that's also why it's a great attack by the devil against souls that are consecrated to God, because those souls that are consecrated to God are the ones that are also consecrated to the truth. Priests, religious, obviously bishops, most especially the Holy Father, are consecrated to the truth, to witness to the truth, many even silently, for example, the contemplatives. But in particular, when we're talking about the great leadership of our beloved church, they're called to be consecrated to the truth by preaching the truth and by teaching the truth.